All right, I'm just going to give everyone a moment. The sign-in sheet is for anyone who wants to comment or ask questions during the public comment portion. So we will go in the order in which you sign up to make comments. We're going to do, what do we, Allison? 4 and 2. We're going to do 4 minutes for first comment. So try to contain your comments. I'm giving you 3. But for public comment, 4 minutes for first comment. We're going to do 2 minutes on a second opportunity to speak if you have more to say after you've talked for 4 minutes. But we are going to give everybody a first chance to speak for 4 minutes before we give additional 2-minute time periods. The public comment will come at the end of the meeting, and we will be getting started in just a moment.
My emails, 9:16. Why ain't they coming in?
That's weird.
Update.
Wait.
Update.
Janice, I did not know Janice.
Yeah.
She's not here, actually. I'm going to talk to her.
Wait, who did you talk to?
Janice, come on. Just to be like we're back at the municipal building.
Was she okay?
Yeah, she's...
That's weird. She remember we were more.
Oh, yeah. All right, thank you. All right, folks, we do need to get started. That's weird.
You know what? I had to shut off mine. And then read. Yeah, I've done that before too. I don't need to do anything.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and feel free to continue to sign in if you haven't signed in for public comment, but we are going to get started. Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Ms. Phillips? Here. Mr. Whalen?
Here.
Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mr. Reparo is absent.
Would everyone please rise for the flag salute and the invocation?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, we come before you this evening grateful for the opportunities to serve our community. We ask for your presence to guide our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Grant us wisdom to make decisions that reflect fairness and compassion, courage to do what is right, and humility to listen with open hearts. We pray for peace in our world, in our nation, and our community, and within ourselves. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so next we are going to move on to the minutes.
For your consideration, we have the minutes of August 19th, 2025, regular meeting minutes.
Council President, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 19th.
I'll second.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Next for your consideration.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm going to call up Joseph Schramm. He is here with a Hamilton business owner, David Nicholas. Mr. Schramm, I'm going to go ahead and give you 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Be efficient with your time. My name is Joseph Schramm. I'm here with Mr. David Nicholas. He is the owner of, right now, termed Prolific Dispensary. He's also
Is that mic on?
It's picking up on the system.
He's also the owner of Prolific Grow House LLC. It's a licensed cannabis cultivation and manufacturing facility. It's been successfully operating in Mount Holly, New Jersey for 2 years. Mr. Nicholas and Prolific Grow House obtained a final recommendation from CRC for Class 5 conditional license that expires in April. And the reason we're here is Mr. Nicholas has submitted an application to Mr. Dumont in July seeking to operate a dispensary at 691 Route 130, Unit 4 in Hamilton. That's in the shopping center at 130 and Clockner Road near the Wawa there. There's really been very limited action. His license, again, expires in April. The word that he's received from the planning board is that he needs action from the council. I'm really here to understand why is the application stalled, and he's heard nothing about it. Thanks to some helpful guidance from individuals on the council and the township attorney before him, we understand perhaps the procedure is that you need a before this council would issue a letter of recommendation or permit, you need a letter of recommendation from Mr. Dumont and Mayor Martin. But so the application details Mr. Nicholas's ties and commitments to this community, as well as those of Prolific Grow House. This would be, we'd note, a social equity and micro business dispensary. It's classified. So again, really, it's been stalled, and we perhaps were under the misimpression that the application was stalled here, whereas it appears that really nobody is aware of the application. So that is the reason we were here today, is to really understand what questions, what can we provide, and what is needed from Prolific Grow House or Mr. Nicholas.
So we don't have any information. You are correct. We don't have any information on your business or your application. I put you at the top because you're paying your attorney to be here, so I did put you at the top, just so we could hear your concerns and take them under advisement. We really don't have any information to provide to you because this is the first time any of us have become aware of the existence of your business. It does start with our planning department, with our economic development department, and then we do get a recommendation based on vetting by the mayor's team and the economic development team on issuing letters of support for businesses. We have been, I'd say, generous with our issuing of letters of support, and we're certainly supportive of growing businesses. There's economic opportunity in Hamilton, so we appreciate your efforts to open a business here, but we don't have any information for you at this time. We're here to listen to your concerns and take them under advisement.
If it'd be helpful or useful, I do have copies of the application that was submitted, copies of the letter from the zoning official saying that is a permitted use in that area. I was just going to say, are those documents that you have submitted to the township? Yes.
So they're available to us. I mean, you're making us aware, so we'll be able to
Copies I submitted. So I was only one.
speak into the mic, if you don't mind.
There was only one copy.
Would you identify yourself?
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is David Nicholas. I'm CEO of Prolific Grow House and also CEO of Prolific Dispensary. As I was mentioning, I have submitted a copy to Fred Dumont back in July. I had this lease signed since February. Been trying to get in front of this board since February. I was instructed by Mayor Martin after my first meeting with him to wait till July till I have my keys in hand to get in front of this board. July came. This meeting has never happened. I've been reaching out day after day, week after week. I don't get a response back from anyone from the township. My money right now and my company is at stake right now. I'm not sure if anyone knows, no one knows anything about me, but I'm only 27 years old. I've been in this business for 2 years. I started from nothing, right from this city, and I made something of myself. I want to come back here. I just parked my car outside. You should see how much of the community came up to my vehicle. They all know me here. My reputation is great here. I want to do business here and, succeed with this township, but having no communication won't help anyone. It's just going to burn the money in my pockets, be a detriment to my company, and, not help us excel.
Tell me your name again.
David Nicholas.
And the name of your company, David?
Prolific Dispensary.
We're going to look into it. I have your attorney's contact information. If you want to leave your phone number, I will. Oh, I have your contact information as well, so we'll look into it and we'll be in touch with you, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Madam Clerk, can we move on with the consent agenda? Or Communications,
Yes.
excuse me.
We have for your consideration joint proclamations for the month of October. First, we have the support of the 2025 Communities of Life Project, the observance of National Day of Advocacy, Imagine a Day Without Water, Water Works, observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Stronger Together, Uniting Voices for Prevention and Support of National Red Ribbon Week, Life is a Puzzle, Solve It Drug Free, observance of Blindness Awareness Month, Uniting for a Glaucoma-Free World, observance of Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Month, and finally, the observance of National First Responders Day.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion on communications C1.
I'll second it.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
And Mr. Ty.
Yes.
Next for your consideration, we have consent agenda items CA1 through CA15.
So among the items, we have more grant money. The township continues to do a good job of identifying opportunities to maximize taxpayer dollars through the acquisition of grants. We, at this point, have received several $1 million in grant money, so the trend continues tonight. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll make a few comments. I just wanted to commend the administration. We have obviously the labor agreement with CWA, which is 25-414, and that's a 4-year contract with that union. That's good news. 416, we did receive a little bit less this year in CDBG funding, but I guess we'll get some information on what in particular that's going to at upcoming board meetings, but I'd like to see those grant dollars go to beneficial programs in our community. The other one I just wanted to mention, you mentioned, Council President, the grants that are on our agenda this evening. We are rejecting 2 grant writers that had submitted through an RFP process because it was a little higher than the estimated amount. But that doesn't mean we're going to still have potentially upcoming meetings information with potentially could still maintain the grant writer or grant writer that we have to consider moving forward. So that entity may, we still are strongly considering having a grant writer as an option.
We actually do have, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we do have the current grant writer. We have the option to renew that. We did shop for additional possibilities of grant writers. We shopped to price it out and really didn't find anything better than what we have. They've been doing a good job, so if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes, that's exactly right. You have it right. And so, again, the contract we currently have will go through the end of this year. And so before the end of this year, we'll probably be coming to you with a recommendation as to whether you want to extend that contract for another year. And then you also have the option to do it for another year after that, once we get through next year. So again, you still have options, and you're right. We tried to go out to see what else is out there when we have this kind of in-between option that we could go with somebody else or we could renew it. And it just wasn't any additional savings, right, for the township. So we wanted to make sure that, we're doing our due diligence on that for you all.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other?
Just a quick question on the performance bonds. I see we're giving a performance bond back. It's probably a new developer that's going to develop that parcel of land. When a person puts a performance bond up, are we gaining interest on it, or does the owner the bond?
You're testing my old CFO skills here, councilperson, but I don't know the answer to that. I know that some escrows is a split in the interest.
Okay.
So some of it goes back to the developer and some of it stays with the township for processing all of that.
Sure.
But I'm not sure specifically for performance bonds. And so I've tried to text our CFO that very question and see if she answers that.
Yeah, just food for thought. I
Right.
just was wondering.
But in many instances with all the escrows, because it's not just performance bonds, right? There is other escrows that we hold for these developers as well. But we're not supposed to benefit from that, right? We're required to give at least a certain amount of interest to them for the holdings that we have, that we're just holding for them.
Right.
I wish the law had such concern for benefit for our taxpayers that they do for the developers, but the law is the law and we have to follow it.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments regarding the agenda, the consent agenda items? Any members of the public wishing to comment on any of the consent agenda items? Remember, we're not up to public comment yet, so we're strictly talking about these 15 items. Seeing no members of the public wishing to comment?
Yeah, Council President, I'd like to close the public portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA15.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
And that brings us to public comment. And we have a lot of folks who were signing up. So we are going to get started with, Joseph Schramm, did you want to take?
No, I already have a chance to speak. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mikey Ricca. Did I pronounce that right?
It's Mike Ricca.
Mike Ricca. And can you just state your name and address?
My name is Mike Ricca. I live on 9 Heathwood Lane in Hamilton Township.
Thank you.
My wife and I live in West Acres neighborhood. We're some of the newest residents in that neighborhood. We moved in at the end of 2021, just a couple of years prior to Bent Iron Brewery. Although we've only lived there a short time, our neighbors welcomed us with open arms, always waving hello with smiles and driving in the neighborhood when I come home from work. There's friendly conversations from walkers and talking about sports, my Halloween decorations, my robotic lawnmower. Everything has been great. Then Bent Iron Brewery has moved in around 2023. Previously, our outdoor spaces were filled with the sounds of birds and crickets. Now, nearly every weekend, our neighborhood is polluted with the sounds of loud and sometimes vulgar music, as well as being bombarded with nonstop commotion from loud crowds and screaming children. It's not just the music, it's the overall sound of the patrons also. I'd like to remind the council of Hamilton Township Code, Chapter 311, Section 8, regarding sound production devices such as microphones, speakers, musical instruments. It states that no person shall cause, suffer, allow, or permit the operation of sound production devices in such a manner that the sound crosses a property line and raises the sound levels above the neighborhood residual sound level. In this instance, it's more than 6 decibels when the brewery is in operation. Using the measurement settings based in that code, I took a measurement today for about 5 minutes, and our average decibel level is 47. So just based off of that, anything over 53 decibels would be a violation of that code. When we tested measurements last weekend during Oktoberfest, it was at 63 decibels in a neighbor's backyard. And I know my sound device might not be calibrated to your standards, but that alone, I feel, warrants an investigation. As a resident of West Acres neighborhood, we request code enforcement and noise enforcement officers or an investigator be sent out. All any of us want in the neighborhood is to have peace and quiet that we used to have before Bent Iron Brewery moved in. Our entire neighborhood has the right to that as laid out in the Hamilton Township codes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Leanne Polini.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leanne Polini. I live at 102 Extonville Road. I've lived at 102 Extonville Road my entire life. We moved in 1978. Been part of the township through all the school systems, through everything. I have never left. Whether people want to see that as a good or bad thing, I find that to be an amazing thing. I'm raising my beautiful daughter as a single mother in Hamilton Township. I find that you guys putting God into our discussion that we started with to be phenomenal, and I appreciate that. I have to talk to you, though, for the first time ever, and I come to you because of the noise of the Bent Iron Brewery. It's not manageable anymore. It's getting to the point I've had 11, my whole neighborhood doesn't need to know this. I've had 11 surgeries on my abdomen since 2023. Not any fault of the brewery. I wanted this to work. The noise is getting out of control. We were met with, yes, they believe that they have done everything they're supposed to as far as their end of it. But as a resident at this point, and being every day, it seems like more music, decibels get louder, people get more crude, and people scream and saying things at me through my fence, okay? I am right there, as well as my other neighbors that I've known for a long time. I have elderly parents that have paid property taxes on that property since 1978 that still live in that house that I care for as well. It's something, you know, going to talk to the Ben Iron Brewery face to face, asking nicely, leaving the cops out of it, talking like how I can talk to my neighbors, never works. Calling, nobody answers the phone, nobody returns a phone call. I was given a business card by an attorney one day, call anytime. I'm not comfortable doing that, so I would prefer to call the business, okay? I'm personally, I can speak for myself, I don't want them out of business, but this fence they're going to tell you about is chicken wire. I've had horses shown all over the country my whole life, okay? It's chicken wire, it's not a fence. We have some trees, but it's not enough. We have music pointing to our yards. We have people screaming profanities. We have some neighbors that found children that don't belong to them. When you read the reviews, let the reviews speak for themselves. Okay? Children left unattended. Okay? We're not going to talk about service animals not being allowed, but children not being attended. The noise levels, things like that. This is not what Hamilton Township ever was about. The owners don't even reside in our township. Okay? If this is so wonderful, and we're giving it a shot, put it in Chesterfield where they live. That's what we asked in the beginning. We're always met with, we're doing it this way, we're doing it that way. There's no flexibility. Asking us as residents who've been there forever, who have never had a problem with one another, just ask us, where can we, $20,000 on trees? Well, sir, you grow trees. So I don't know where the math came from, but okay, we need something more. My daughter should not be cursing and hearing things she hears. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry, I'm like nervous. I never do this.
No, thank you, nice job.
Thank you so much, everyone. Be careful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is David Maldonado.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is David Maldonado. I live at 638 Schiller Avenue. I've been there since 2003. I'm here today representing some of our neighbors and homeowners in that block of 600 Schiller Avenue, along with some that are here, actually. We wanted to bring to council's attention well, first of all, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. We wanted to bring to council's attention our very grave concerns of some various very troubling incidents involving disorderly conduct that impacts the quality of life to every resident in our vicinity, and also dangerous events that have been grappling our neighborhood ever since new tenants have moved into 643 Schiller Avenue. Since the very first day that they arrived, they have been disrespectful to the neighborhood. Within days of moving in, they had loud parties with over 20 people hanging out in front of the houses, in and around the front of the house, blocking sidewalks, double parked vehicles blocking traffic, blocking fire hydrants and residents' driveways. These are individuals. There were also individuals riding on motorized scooters and bikes with loud mufflers, often riding on the wrong way on the sidewalks, with people having to move out of their ways in order for them not to be struck. This disorderly conduct has occurred on numerous occasions and days, and continue sometimes up to like 5 o'clock in the morning, including young children that should not be out during those late hours. Several residents have called police already and reported these incidents. In addition, we have witnessed a police raid at that location. Also, the U.S. Marshals surrounded this premise on one occasion and removed at least one individual from that location as well. Furthermore, the incident that really has drawn the most concern to all the residents in our neighborhood, in our block, was an incident that occurred around 11 p.m. on one evening, where I personally observed several individuals, approximately 6 to 8 individuals on motorized scooters and bikes, descend on our neighborhood and began pointing at several locations, different homes in our block. I could hear them saying, "Which house is it? Which house is it?" before zeroing in on 643 Schiller Avenue. These individuals then surrounded that location, and some of them went around to the back of the house, some of them stayed out and posted in front of the house. Moments later, you could hear two gunshots that came from behind the house or the side of the house. At this point, the individuals that were on the motorcycles in front of the house, they all hastily drove away down the wrong, driving down the wrong way on Schiller Avenue. And then I observed another individual on a moped come out from behind the house and hastily took off down the wrong way on Schiller Avenue as well. Then I saw an individual on foot running out in front of the house, stopped in the middle of the street in front of 643 Schiller Avenue, turned around, pointed a handgun at the house, and recklessly started shooting into the house.
Is it one house?
This is one house. Yes. And
What did you say the address is?
643 Schiller Avenue.
Okay.
This shooting and this incident put all the residents at 643 Schiller Avenue in imminent danger. They have children there as well. But not only them, but any of the homes that they were pointing at before they mistakenly pointed at, before they actually zeroed in on 643 Avenue, they could have shot into any one of those homes as well. So, and what caused these gun-toting criminals to come to 643 Schiller Avenue in the first place? It wasn't the house. It was the conduct and the behavior of somebody in the house. They were shooting at somebody inside that house, right? So we submit something should be done to keep the neighborhood and residents safe from the dangers that these tenants that they have brought to this community. We as residents have been proactive in this as well. We have sought out the owner and the landlord of this property. Several of our community residents signed a letter back in June.
Dave, that was your time expiring.
No, you could come back
Now,
now.
hold on. I don't know if you heard me at the beginning of the meeting. I said everybody's going to get 4 minutes each, and then you can come back up and get 2 more minutes.
Okay.
After everyone has had a chance
Absolutely.
to speak.
So
Stay put. Can you stay?
Sure.
We have a question from our township
I'm
attorney.
just looking at the map. There's a 641, which is a attached.
Yes, it's attached to
house,
643.
645, which is unattached.
It-
There is no 643, so are you talking about?
No, there's a 643.
No, there's a 643. I have it.
641 is attached to 643, actually. It's a semi-detached home.
So we're going to.
Well, we can ask a question.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, so you mentioned that you're being proactive, which is great, but you're being proactive trying to call the police, I'm sure. What's their response time, especially when there was gunfire, number one?
I have to admit, the police were there almost immediately when I called. I mean, I was already on the phone when I first saw these individuals out there because of all the other instances that have been occurring. I was already on the phone calling the police. I'm sure that some other folks in the neighborhood were already calling as well. They were there almost immediately. They came and they recovered shell casings and projectiles from the house and everything else, which is what I was going to address. But
Do you know, were there any arrests in this?
no, all these individuals took off and fled before the police were able to arrive.
Well, that was on that instance, but there's instances where you're stating that there's activity at night, parties, people in the street.
Not to my knowledge, there hasn't been any arrests as far as
When
I know.
they come out, when the police come out and disperse the people that are loitering in the street or riding electric e-bikes or whatever they're doing, do they leave? I mean, are they breaking it up?
They do break it up, and this family or whoever it is that lives there, they tone it down for a while, and then it just starts up again after the police leave or several days after.
I would think after so many phone calls and so many times visits out, somebody should be being issued summonses on this.
Yeah.
And
Well, the other thing is that like I was saying, we contacted the landlord, we sent a letter to him, and it's my understanding that he would like to, help and try, in the process of getting these people out of there.
Well, it becomes a civil matter too.
Yeah.
When a landlord is allowing their tenants to cause an ongoing disturbance in a neighborhood,
Creating a
there's
nuisance,
additional
yes.
enforcement action that can and should be taken. So we're gonna see.
It sounds like there's been some other targeted activity there too, because you said that there's, right, that police did a raid on that property.
Yeah, there was
at
the
some
U.S.
point.
Marshals came one time, there was a police raid there too, I'm not sure. if it
All
was-
right, so we have to check into this. We'll check with our PD and see what sort of targeted enforcement that they're doing
Yeah.
there or what they have. But we can also check with Mr. Dumont, Director Dumont too, because they will have to be registered, right, as a landlord. And if there's been any complaints that have come in that way, that we could also look to act.
We are in the process of obtaining OPRA requests for that location and to see, so that we can have a record of everything
Okay.
that's been going
Very
on as
good.
well.
That's a good way to go.
Very
Okay.
good.
So we were just asking for any advice or help that legally can be done with the council in case the landlord doesn't follow through with his things to,
Yeah.
to try to get these people out of there.
Yes, and
So let's get
you
their
are gonna.
contact information.
Yep.
If you're going to be the spokesperson, let's
Yeah,
get that
we-
and we can work
Can you
with
give Allison your
Absolutely.
contact information? And I
Right.
see other folks from your neighborhood are going to come up and add additional information, and we welcome everyone to get up and, state your concerns. But with this is going to be addressed. We're going to work.
there's people in there.
Well, you're welcome
They
to.
can't even have quality like that because.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I saw everyone, well, hold on, ma'am, we have a sign-in sheet. I will get to you, but we're gonna go in order, and then, I'll make sure you get a chance. So Angela, if you're going to yield back your time, then I will, move on to Dennis. So Dennis Cash. Would you state your name and address for us?
Can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
Dennis Conk, 607 Shore Avenue. I've spoken with some of the members before through email in regards to the American Legion. That was an issue. I know you guys tried to do your best with that. There's a lot of proactive members in that community, myself being one. And I went right to the top for the American Legion. And then the biggest thing was there were frisking members going into or patrons going into the for an affair, and then a fight broke out. There was like 50 people on the street fighting, and somebody had a gun. That was 2 years ago. We got the place shut down. It's been shut down since then. Neighborhoods, but the grass grows. I'm on the American Legion state saying, I'm going to call the township. In regards to this, I'm going to add a little twist. So that same night, 11:30, in my bedroom in front of the house, I hear 8 shots. Look out, and there's 4 motorcycles going down the street. Review the surveillance on the front of my house, and you can see the flash of the gunfire. So I'm in the military, 25 years, still active in the military. So I want to put a little twist to this. I deployed. I got to deal with that kind of stuff, like somewhere else. I don't want to deal with it in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that, but if I can't sleep at night and worrying about that, we need your help. So, I have kids, my house, with the kids, 5 generations, my great-grandparents own the house. Like I said, sorry, like, being in the military, being around, like, gunshots, stuff like that, like, I still do my job, but, like, I can't live in a place where there's people shooting up a house. And, there's been, history of this, just like with the American Legion, but it's the neighbors are constantly fighting. And the neighborhood's going down. It's really going down. Add another little twist, 332 Lafayette, that's my rental property. I am a landlord, multifamily rental property over there. I took it from the dumps to a very reputable rental property over there. So I know, as a landlord, you cannot, as you had said, you cannot And the township cannot allow this landlord who lives in Belmead, New Jersey, to continue to allow this to go on. You can remove the rental license, and at that point, tell the tenants they gotta get out. So, we need your help. Again, sorry, I can't live in a place with gunfire. And in Hamilton Township, there shouldn't be gunfire. You're like,
Anywhere.
I've had to experience that deployed, and I don't want to experience it in my neighborhood.
David, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Dave.
And you are right, and you do have our attention, and you do have our support. Councilman Carabelli?
Yeah, I just wanted to, Dennis, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Thank you for your service, number one, but the second thing I wanted to ask you was the gunshot during the middle of the night, is it related to it has to be related to 643, or was it something at the American Legion?
Oh, no, I just, sorry, I was just trying to be very brief because I know the 4 minutes. So I'm here for 643, 643 Shore Avenue.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Just piggyback everything on Dave.
Okay.
I started off because we've had a little history. I emailed you guys.
Yes.
Ms. Phillips, yourself.
Yes.
We had talked, and then just to segue into that Schiller Avenue is going down. And if it wasn't for myself, Helen Sharpley, whose ex-husband is a firefighter now, we're constantly, Oprah requests, calling the township, calling the housing department, calling. And as people say, why do you care so much? And it's pretty sad that people say that, because that's where I live.
Who's saying that?
Just general people, because people say, oh, you worry too much.
Okay.
But nobody from the township.
Okay.
But that's where I live. I have pride where I live. So.
Thank you.
One more question, Dennis. How often are these disturbances happening?
643
Yeah.
has been a circus.
So with regularity, every week?
Yeah.
Every few days?
There's a lull sometimes for a week or so.
We're not gonna schedule all that.
All bedlam.
Oh, yeah, you guys can only talk when you're at the microphone.
Yeah, it's all the time. It's all the
Okay.
time. It's all the
Okay.
time.
Okay, this is a serious matter.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
It's a quality of life issue.
Absolutely.
With all respect, my utmost respect, I don't really, and when I say this, care, it's with respect. I don't care about the Tulip Festival, I don't care about the St. Gardens, I don't care about the Cruiser Mansion, I don't care about the parades, I don't care. I want my family to be safe, and where I pay taxes, I want to just enjoy where I live, that's it. Nothing else. The library, anything else. I just want to go to work, come home, that's it.
fair enough,
Thank you.
Dennis.
Agree with you 100%.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. Peter, you're good. Thank you, Peter. Rick Tamagno. And Schiller Avenue, I want to thank everybody from Schiller Avenue, and we may hear from more Schiller Avenue residents, but I want to thank you guys for bringing that to our attention.
Good evening, council. My name is Rick Tamagno. I live at 37 East Acres Drive. We spoke with you at the last council meeting. I'm here also to talk about the Bent Iron Brewery. Some information, the group of homeowners that are concerned about the noise violations, we've been looking at other avenues as well as, going through the township, looking to see, there was information that I shared last time about the Mercer County Agricultural Development Board. There was this resolution, had a lot of things that were, didn't list decibel levels, but it listed statements about, what was being agreed to as part of that process. A couple of the things, so we spoke last night in Ewing. They had a, public comment period at their meeting. Everyone.
Did you say in Ewing?
In Ewing, yeah.
I think
The Mercer County.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the Mercer County.
Step behind for a minute, thank you. And I got it.
Everyone was there to do some public testimony. They said it was not, a formal event. It was just a chance to publicly speak. A group of neighbors came there. We spoke very passionately about the way that these things were affecting us, people getting up there and talking about they've been there for 40 years, you know, the angst that is causing them, the stress on their lives, the, you know, the loss of, you know, their own personal space and the ability to use that. The owners were also there in attendance, and when they came up afterwards, you know, they have the right to speak at this thing too, but it was a situation where, as opposed to coming up and talking about, hey, this is the first that we're hearing about this. This is, you know, we want to be more neighborly. It was more, don't believe your lying ears. It was, there's a lot of people that support us. There's a lot of people that do this. This is the things that we've done. This is the and instead of, it just felt very, again, it was their right to do that. This is their business and they have that, but it was very telling in the way that we're going to be, if they're not dealt with through the means of Mercer County or this township, it's not going to happen on their own. We have the feeling right now is that they do not care about our concerns whatsoever. And until we see otherwise, that's the evidence in front of us right now. So since the last meeting, we've had a meeting with Fred Dumont. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that, but you know, we were told that they were going to go out there and do some things, some monitoring. Everything that's happened so far from the township's perspective to at least does not, we don't really feel supported yet. You know, I know that you said, give us some time, let's see what happens. A day after the meeting that we had with them, I walked my dogs. They had an event on the Friday night, a public, you know, live music event. Walked the dogs to a road that's about a half mile down on East Acres Drive. I could still hear the lyrics and the music and the bass clearly a half mile away on the property. I can, you know, I don't know the name of the road right now, but I can show you if you need to find out later on. In my yard, I'm directly next to them. I hear every sound. Where we used to hear crickets, we don't hear anything except for a carnival. Feral kids running and screaming and yelling and cursing and things that they're not being supervised by their parents. I'm the one that had kids ending up in my yard when they broke through the fence. I'm concerned about someone drowning in my pool. You know, I'm concerned about things that I've never had to think about before. Public safety issues. We're having an Oktoberfest. When there's an Oktoberfest in Mercer County Park, there's police there. There's people doing traffic control. What's going on out there? I feel like we are on the outskirts of something. This is something that some group of people sat down and looked at this and said, this is a great idea. Let's put this thing right next to all these houses. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic in it, but it doesn't seem that it was well thought out. And we'd like to see some remedy to this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick. Dan Seath.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for talking to us. My name is Dan Seath, 50 Post Lane. I was here at the last council meeting. You know my plight. I think there's a theme here tonight. It seems to be quality of life, where we live, where we pay our taxes. And this is an issue. Now, I'm a small business owner, and I feel weird coming here and attacking a small business. They're operating within their rights. They're doing what they're supposed to. And from what I'm told, and from what I've even experienced, they reach out to us enough with it's above and beyond what they have to do. Now, from what I've been told, this was granted by the county and it's regulated by the township. So if you have a neighborhood of upset, you know, citizens here that has a problem with how they're operating, I think that falls into why are they allowed to operate this way? They're not doing anything wrong, but that's the issue. At some point, when this was being put together, somebody with their intelligence looked at this, looked at the plans, everyone has blueprints, and they go, well, what about those people? You think you want to build right on top of all those pre-existing homes with residents that have been there for 40 plus years? Somebody said, you know what? Don't worry about them. They don't matter. Can I get an answer to who that was? I just want to know what the mindset is when they said, these residents don't matter, do what you want. Thank you.
You're saying somebody said that?
No,
No, it's just hypothetical.
Next is,
Somebody had.
you gotta be at the mic. You gotta be at the mic if you're.
If that's gonna be a dispute, I mean, we know how things work when you build stuff. You can't just go in anywhere in New Jersey and build any building you want. Things get approved. It costs money. I'm sure they've spent a fortune. So at some point, blueprints that I've seen with my own eyes, this is their building, this is Extonville Road. Here's 4 or 5 pre-existing homes. Here's, Old Post Lane. Hey, there's my house. I've been there since 1980. There's the house next to me. They've been there since 1980. They got 55 sprawling acres. They brag about it. They're proud of it. They should be. Why did they build right on top of the pre-existing homes? Who said that's okay? Thank you.
Okay, next up is Marco Fernandez. Obregon, thank you. And if you would, state your name and address into the microphone.
My name is Marco Fernandez Obregon. I live in 2 Heathwood Lane. I came here for 2 reasons. One is to talk about.
Pull the mic down a little bit. Yeah.
Talk about Bent Iron, the brewery, with the extent, the amount of sound and noise that they're generating. They didn't used to be like that. I mean, when they first came on board, it was fine. They had light music on. It was a nice atmosphere. And just recently, they started doing concerts. And the first concert I remember that they had, it was my house was shaking. And I don't live that far. I mean, I live maybe about half a mile, between a quarter mile and half a mile away, but I can still hear the sound. So it used to be. I moved into Hamilton 33 years ago. Okay, and the reason I came out there was like living in the country. It was quiet. It was really, I mean, it was just really a nice place to grow up kids. There was at that time there was a lot of kids that were in the neighborhood. Of course, the kids grow up and they leave, but now you're getting a flux of new kids coming on board again. So now these concerts become a problem too because there's a lot of vulgarity going on here. And now these parents buy these tickets for these concerts, and they bring their kids into this concert. They make a choice of them coming and put their kids into this environment. We have no choice as a neighborhood people come in here, and that's not right. The other thing is the security in terms of, I remember within the first couple of months or so that there was an incident where I was coming home one night and a car just ran right through a stop sign and stopped by on Extonville Road and Old York, and he rammed the pole. Probably had too much to drink. So the other thing is every time I go by there when they're open, I'm curious to find out if I have to look out for some drunken guy coming out of the brewery. So that's another issue. That's why you have the police involved in coming around and taking care of that as well. So they have just gotten louder and louder over the years until now. And I have nothing against the brewery. I've gone there a couple of times and it's really nice. But when they put it outside, they don't have the setup for us to not control the sound. I mean, you hear it all the way down to my neighborhood. And then, like I said, I'm not directly involved with the sound. Like some of my neighbors live literally right there. So that's one thing. The other thing is I always think of our neighborhood as the forgotten neighborhood. We're the last people to get plowed every winter, and our roads are terrible. I mean, I have a corner property to Heathwood Lane, and I have probably about over 600 linear feet that I have to basically clear out from the weeding on the wedge, because the secondary layer of asphalt is actually peeling off, and it's the condition of that whole neighborhood. Now, we met with Fred Dumont on the 18th of September to discuss the brewery, and at that point I contacted the one woman who was there, G. Laird, and I have brought pictures of the condition of the roads in Hamilton, and she told me to send them to me, and I emailed her back then the same day to show what's going on there, and it's horrific. You walk, when you ride that area, those roadways, every 20 feet there's a clump, and there's weeds growing all over the place on top of it. We shouldn't have to weed whack our curbs. That should not be our jobs. And I remember at one point that the Hamilton Township used to come in and do the sweeper and sweep the roads and clean them up. the only time I see them do that is when they pick up shrubs and stuff from the area. They should do it like on a regular basis. They don't do that. Like I said, sometimes I feel like we're the lost, because we were already at the end of the tip of Mercer. So we're still Hamilton Township. I remember when I worked for the Board of Education as a facility director, they were happy that I lived in Hamilton. I literally lived within a block. But in any event, I just wanted to bring those issues up to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I just want to make one comment.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez, I know that our Councilman Papero did pay a visit to the neighborhood following that meeting. Kathy, do we know what the scoring is on some of those roads, and if we're taking some attention, want to address?
Don't, but we can check
potentially
that out if I get the list of roads that you say have issues, and I have no problem with going out there myself, but we actually have a report that scores all of the roads in the township.
Yeah, I got to say also that in the 33 years I've been there hasn't been a single road that has been fixed or repaired. I did complain 2 years ago about the condition of my apron. I had replaced my apron and my concrete driveway as well, and it was actually peeling off. The layer was peeling off, and the response from the township was they came back and they gave me a cold patch. That was their solution. That cold patch is 2 years ago, and now it's starting to come out again. So I don't know.
But aside from that, we do have a road replacement and repair program, and we've had, I can't remember what year we did it, but it was somewhere around 22 or maybe the.
What was the new equipment?
Oh, we did the,
The assessment with the new equipment.
You did some curbs and,
No, I'm talking about the assessment of the roads, and each have been assigned a score, and we use that score. We take the worst scores and we do those. We set our schedule for either reconstruction or repair of the roads based on their evaluation, their condition. So when I get a list of roads, I can
Right.
check the score and see where
recently
they
just
are
did-
in relation to all the roads in the
Okay.
township.
But you recently did all of Broad Street, and in some areas that road was in a lot better condition than ours. So, I'm curious to find out who evaluates and who does these evaluations and sets a score limit to what a roadway is.
So I do think part of it is how heavily traveled the road is. There are a lot of factors that go into that. There are a lot of roads that we do pave every year, and it may be that some of the roads that you're talking about, we're going to check, but sometimes they're on the list, but it still takes us a while to get to them because we put them on the
Well,
list.
I know how projects work out. Believe me, I understand.
You did say,
and
that's
I
true.
did that, so.
Mr. Fernandez, I appreciate your input. I wanted to ask you one more question, if you
Sure.
don't mind. How often are these sound disturbances taking place?
Actually, every week. It's at least a week.
Once a week?
At usually Saturday or depending on the schedule. And initially they were supposed to have 26 events. And they used to be open like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. Now I've seen them there. Sometimes they have special events on Mondays, then on Wednesdays, and then the concerts are usually like in the evening or late evening. They close at 9 o'clock every now, which is nice in that respect. I feel for the neighbors who live literally right next to them. At one point, I remember that all the lights, they have string lights around the perimeter. And I'm coming home late at night at 10 o'clock, and it's all bright. I would hate to see those lights behind my house turned on at that point as well. So I mean, I'm not complaining about it because I don't see that, but somebody's got to be angry about what's going on over there. And a lot of my neighbors are very angry, especially the ones that are right there that hear it. I mean, they said they put trees down, but trees is not going to keep down sound. They need to do something
it's not
more.
soundproof.
And I know a lot of breweries that basically they have their events indoors, not outside. So if they have to build something for their acoustics, then that's what they have to do. But that's why we're here. We had a meeting yesterday in Mercer County, and we also went with Fred Bloom on earlier about this. But I'm glad that we're bringing it up to your attention, the Council of Hamilton, that you possibly do something about it, because you guys have the authority. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Fernandez Obregon. David Herrick's.
Clorox, like
Clorox.
Clorox bleach.
Apologize.
Yeah, that's
Would
how
you
I
state your
pronounce
name and
it. So,
address?
David Clorox, I'm at 3 Heathwood Lane. I appreciate the time again, and you can see I brought some backup with me this time. Actually, very easy, once you start talking to your neighbors and you find it seems like everybody in the whole neighborhood, immediate vicinity of the brewery is very upset. Neighbors who I thought actually wouldn't be bothered at all, I see that they're actually very upset. A lot of people don't have the time to complain. A lot of people don't have the time to write an email. They don't have the time to come here and talk. They don't want to talk. They've got kids in soccer practice. I've got my daughter outside. Luckily, she came. They're friends. They can play. So there's some pluses though. My wife's at work. She's in the hospital at Princeton Hospital right now, nurse manager. She's working nights. I'm working late. When I'm done here, I'm going to go back, put the kids to bed, and go right back to work, answering emails. I work more than 40 hours a week. We hit the weekend. That's our time. I get a shutdown. My wife is off. We're off. We moved to this neighborhood. I had, I think, 5 or 6 inspectors inspect my house. I lived in New Jersey for 12 years. I knew where I was moving. I selected very carefully this neighborhood. I mentioned last time I have a son who's in the spectrum. We looked at the schools. We looked at the towns. We very methodically, carefully picked our neighborhood. We very carefully moved back to New Jersey from where we were in Illinois. It was a big decision, and it was centered around our family. Now, having the brewery come in and make the noise that they are as regularly that they are, they have taken away our peace and serenity that we need in order to have a positive family life at our house. My son, as I mentioned before, he needs that time to go outside. He plays his mind, we call it, or professionals might call it stimming. You pass by my house probably even right now. He's probably outside on the swinging right now. That's what he needs. He deals with a lot. He notices a lot of things. He has his headphones on. He still hears the brewery. He knows it's playing. He hears the dog barking. He hears me inside. He knows what's going on. And he knows it's irritable. When they're playing their music loud, like they did in September, as I mentioned before, we had to vacate our property because he was getting upset. The dog was upset. The adults are upset. It was insanely too loud. I came here, stated my case. It was mentioned that there'd be some sort of a meeting, maybe some mediation. I understand that there was a meeting. I wasn't included in it. I was traveling that day, but didn't even know it was happening. So from my perspective, I didn't see a lot of follow-up.
Sorry, the meeting was when?
18th of September.
Yes.
I don't have the exact, I wasn't included, so.
Okay.
It was very last minute, so it was not that inclusive, and I think a couple neighbors scrambled to get the head count that they did have, and it was fairly represented. But in any case, when the owners are approached and asked, to adjust what things are happening, we get statements like, well, we could be open 7 days a week, and we could have noise and concerts 7 days a week. Well, yeah, they could make our lives a living hell, and we can have more neighbors up here and more complaining, and that doesn't seem right at all. It probably was a mistake to have the brewery so close to the house. But probably, in a way, if you look at it from a macro perspective, you've got preserved farmland there, and there's benefits that go along with that. You're operating a bar on that preserved farmland. I mean, it's a little ridiculous to begin with. So if you're a farm brewery and you're going to make it a farm brewery, make it a farm brewery. Grow your grain, grow your wheat, do farming things. Just because you say you're a farmer doesn't mean you are.
David, you're out of time. Just to be clear, how often are the sound disturbances? I wasn't 100%.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be more seasonal. So right now, when the weather cools down and you want to enjoy your outdoors more, they also want to have more outdoor concerts. So It changes in frequency, but I've called the police, and I have all the Hamilton police calls on my phone, and I only call when I hear it in my house and I can't get away from it. Then I call the police, and I have times when I've called the police at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then called again later at 5 and again later at 9, because nothing happens when I call the police. And I've called the police now 9 times so far this year, and I have all the dates saved on my phone. And that's, just this year. Last year I did call the police too.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yep.
Next is David Snook. Forgive me if I mispronounced. Would you tell us your name and your address, please?
My name is David Snook. I live at 28 East Acres Drive in Hamilton. I'd like this not to go into my 4 minutes, but I grew up on the corner of Park and Schiller Avenue. My mother was born in a house on 300 block of Schiller Avenue. I feel very, very, very sorry for her. It's terrible. Okay. We spoke last night up in Ewing on Parkside Avenue to the county. Let me start out by saying that they approved that plan for the farm brewery in December of 2023. We met with the owners of the brewery on March 4th of 2024. They committed to be good neighbors. They said they would have things like acoustic guitars playing for entertainment. Lovely. Okay? They opened in July of 24. They have had entertainment there periodically, increased more during the course of time. The music is amplified the majority of the time. That's the problem. Amplified music. There was a guy playing a accordion for Oktoberfest all afternoon. Not a problem. Nothing. Okay? So this is our major concern, amplified music. On September 13th, which has already been talked about before, we had G-Love and Special Sauce. Okay? A nightmare. A public relations nightmare for them. Okay? With the neighbors. Okay? They testified that the applicant testified they had no intention to have loud music or nightclub scenarios. I'm sorry, I dispute that. All right, loud music. The house was shaking 825 feet from their property line. I did it with my golf laser. Okay, that's how far I am from the property line. All right. Light background music. Light background music is not Polkadelphia that was there last Saturday. Okay. I've been married to a Polish gal for 53 years. Polka music is not light background music. Yesterday I did a little bit of research, and I found that there's a noise control ordinance for the lawyers present. It's called 79:29-1.1 in the New Jersey Administrative Code. It sets the standard for municipalities and for the state. Municipalities can change and modify that regulation on a local level, but it cannot be any more liberal than what the state dictates. I made the mistake of going to Hamilton Township in Atlantic County and looking at theirs. They've reduced their acceptable decibel limit for residential properties to 6.0. Ours is 65. Theirs is 60, excuse me. Ours is 65. So they've made it more strict. Maybe Hamilton Township should consider doing that if it upsets this many of the neighbors. Regulations, I dealt with them my whole working life, are changeable. There's 7 live music events scheduled in the month of October. One of them is a ticketed event. I don't know what a ticketed event is, except that they charged $75 on the last one for G-Love and Special Sauce to get in. A special occasion event. All right. What is it? I want to know. I want to know from you folks what a special event is, all right? Did they have permits? Do they have security? Do they have traffic control? You need a permit to do everything in Hamilton Township. What's going on? Okay. They say,
That's your time. You can come up for 2 more minutes after everyone has had a chance to.
you won't let me use the Jimmy Valvano thing?
What's the Jimmy Valvano?
Jimmy Valvano, he's, he
You know
never completed
what it is. You know what it is, Mr. Carabelli.
A great basketball coach, but I don't know the reference. Good. We have our Director of Economic Development, Fred Dumont, here. He's been listening. Thank you for joining us, Fred.
Thank you, Council President, and members of council, and thanks for all the people who came out about Ben Iron Brewery. There was an event, September 13th. We were informed of it by Hamstat, first thing Monday morning. Reached out to the owner, Peter Britton, who is here tonight. I would urge you to talk to him too. Did some investigation on it. Mr. Snook, who I've known a while, reached out, and we asked them to organize a meeting. And members of that residential area came in to meet with us on September 13th. I was in attendance, our zoning officer in attendance, other members of my staff, and Officer O'Hara from the police department was in attendance. And we listened, and we heard everything. Every single complaint that they said, some about the septic systems, and about, different things, we investigate. Every single event we investigate. And as Mr. Britton will tell you, he was cited for that issue on the 13th, and he admitted it was a mistake. Okay? He did that to me in our conversation. He said that he would take actions on everyone since then. Now, I've got a reputation. I don't trust, I verify. And every single event that has been conducted since then, a member of either my staff or Hamilton Police Department have been, including at the Oktoberfest, where we had concerns. Oktoberfest had concerns. A member of my staff was there. One complaint went into the police department. Police department went out that night and found it unfounded. So we have looked at every single thing. The owner will admit, whether he was duped or whatever, into a bad event on September 13th. And the problem out there is in the roads. The hair on the back of my neck went up with the roads. South Broad Street, that was paved, was a county road. Okay, Hamilton Township had no input to that. It was a county road. Most of you know Gia from my staff. Very, 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 very good at her job. When she spoke to Mr. Fernandez, she asked for the pictures. She gave them to the township engineer, who has had the road inspectors go out and inspect those roads to get back about the conditions to the engineer to see if they need to be done. If I would have known tonight this was going to be brought up, I would have brought the results of that. Sorry, I don't have that. But I'm happy to have Gia reach out to Mr. Fernandez tomorrow and share with him the results of that. And one thing about me, I'm going to call it as it is, and I called it like it is in a meeting, and I'm going to say it here tonight too. You hear crickets a lot. That's what was only heard out there, crickets, at one time. And now there's a business. But that business, except for that one time, has not violated our noise ordinance. They shut down their music at 8:45. Where on weekends they're allowed to 11 o'clock. And we will continue to monitor them. You know why? Because despite what everybody says, we work for the residents of this town. When they say there's a problem, we respond. But the business has rights too. And we go by the ordinance and we cite you. You've had people come in front of you saying that I was unfair in the way we treated them. Too tough on them. All right? I'm so happy somebody says tonight, we're not tough enough. Because that means I'm shooting it right down the middle. We're going to do everything we can to monitor the business. And I think you need to hear from Peter Britton. We responded once we heard the complaints. If they happened on September 13th and we met with the residents on September 18th, that's pretty goddamn good in my book.
Fred, how do you, and thank you for kind of giving us that rundown. How do you enforce the noise ordinance?
It's PD that enforces the noise ordinance. We're relying on our health department because they are the actual ones who have the gun. We've had them a couple times go out there for events. And
the health department can measure the noise.
They have a decibel.
A decibel meter.
Now, you have to be a trained individual to work the gun. You have to be certified to be able to do it. You can buy a gun on Amazon. Who knows if that's going to work?
So when there's a complaint about noise, it's actually someone from the health department.
Well, it actually lands on my desk all the time.
Lands on your desk, and then we have to call in
If it calls for
person.
that, yes. If it gets to the point where it's this, this many complaints and all of that, and it can't be determined, or if it's an ongoing issue, right? They'll go out and Fred or whatever department is fielding the complaint usually reaches out to the health department so that they can schedule somebody to go out. And again, I don't know how they're dispatched to do that, but they do.
So PD has no technology on them personally, except just to go out and evaluate it themselves and try and make a determination if the noise is too loud?
Yes, and I don't know their methods for doing that, and maybe the officers could have different ways of trying to measure whether they need to call, right, the health department out, but, I do know that Fred's correct, that when we get the complaints, we send somebody out. If they go into PD does go out. So I know that somebody had said that, many calls were made, and I'd like to know the dates of those calls, because I want to make sure, right, that our PD is going out when they're getting the calls.
But I will say, Fred, when a resident comes and they say they're in their home with their windows closed and can still hear the noise creating a disturbance, they have my attention. That's a problem. And I don't know if it violates the law, but if that's not a violation of the law, then we got to think about why that's not a violation of the law.
Well, Council President, I told you I had staff there on Saturday. I was there 1 o'clock. Our zoning officer there was 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock, and then police were there. And that music was not loud. There wasn't an accordion playing. I think Mr. Snook said it. Listen, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Mr. Snook said it wasn't bad. The people in the back said it was bad. All right? Hold on, let me speak. This is a difficult situation. It's not easy. And believe it or not, my heart goes out to them. But we have ordinances to follow. And that's what we're following. And you need to talk to Mr. Britton. It's my last point. Schiller Avenue. I'd leave it alone the rest of the night. Let Mrs. Monzo contact the police chief, and she'll be able to get back to you. All right? I stepped out of the room, called the housing inspector, and he told me some things that should not be spoken about here later on tonight. And that's not saying we shouldn't tell them what happens. It's being handled in a sensitive manner with the police department.
Good.
All right?
Thank you, Fred. Thanks for the quick response on that and giving us more information about the situation with the brewery. We appreciate it. He's welcome. He's welcome to raise his hand and come up if he wants to.
Begging to have him up here.
Well,
I mean, he said it only.
Okay. Hold on, everybody. Everybody, hold on. We only speak at the microphone, everybody, okay? Let's keep it civilized. Okay, I appreciate your frustration. Mr. Britton, you want to come up? We've heard your name several times now. Would you state your name and address for us, please?
Peter Britton, 70 Extonville Road, Hamilton.
Thank you.
So as Fred just mentioned, we're keenly aware that the concert that we had in September was above and beyond anything that we plan on doing in the future. We're taking that out of the equation, and that is not going to happen again. Some of the common themes beyond that I've been listening to tonight, and we also went last night to the AG meeting. Common themes were, number one, the concert. Number two, the loud music. We do go out every time we have live music. We have our own decibel meter. And as Fred just mentioned, we are not trained. It's something we bought on Amazon, so take it for what it is. But we do have a decibel meter that we go out to the property line, and we take a measurement and we take a picture and we put it into an electronic file every single time, just for reasons like this. Happy to share those with everybody. We also, one of the other common themes that I've been listening to is screening to some of the property lines, and with kids and whatnot going up to the edge of the property line with what Rick had mentioned before. I do have pictures here if anybody'd like to see them of a fence that we put up. That's about 125 feet from his property line to keep all of our customers 125 feet from the property line. I met with Rick and two of his other neighbors about 3 or 4 months ago, and that was one of their main concerns on top of the music. So we acted on it out of our own pocket, put in the fence. Keeps everybody 125 feet off. One of the other common themes was screening with one of the adjacent neighbors. I went through, and this was during construction, I built a 5-foot-high berm. I put 40 trees on it, 20 evergreens, 20 birch trees. It's 5 foot high, 12 foot wide, again, at our own expense. I have pictures of that as well if anybody would like to see any of that. So we do care, and we do try to do our best when we meet with people and they explain what their issues are. One of the other comments that I heard today was farming, and that we're not farming as much as we should. I've been on the tractor for the past 2 days just getting ahead of this rain that's coming tonight to put in 15 acres of barley, which we did last year too, and we did the year before that. I have 300 hop plants that grow. I've been growing those for 3 years. The Mercer County Ag comes out every single year and does an inspection of the barley and the hops to make sure that we're within where we need to be. The past 2 years, we're supposed to be 51%. The past 2 years, I've been at 80%. We're doing way more than what we need to do on the farming end. We're going to be planting barley next week. Anybody wants to come out and watch, I'm more than happy to come out and watch the process and see how it goes. I think that's really all I have on my list here. You guys have any questions that I can help with?
Any questions?
Peter, what is typically the, I guess it's during the spring, summer, and early fall, and that's typically your concert months or the music months that you'll have over the weekend typically?
Yeah, so we've only had one concert, which that was the big one in September.
September 13th.
We're not planning on doing
right,
it.
right.
But in terms of live music, it's Friday and Saturday, and it's outside. It's generally when the weather's nice, so that would be spring, summer, and fall. Okay. As it starts to get colder, we move the music inside.
And the fence is being installed or has been?
It's installed. It's been installed for about 2 months.
So to be fair, the fence isn't going to
help with the acoustics
issue. It might keep people.
Yeah, the fence doesn't help acoustics. It just it helped keep the kids from going up to the property line.
So what do you say to the reports that we've received regarding obscenities, obscene language, obscene music? Is this a regular occurrence? What's happening?
We go through with every live music, every band and whatnot, we go through their set list and to ensure that there is no obscenities. It doesn't mean that one or two doesn't slip through, but we do meet with them before they play, especially with the concert. There may have been one or two that have slipped through. Someone got excited when they were singing or whatnot. But we do try to go through their set list and make sure that there is no, obscene music.
Who's booking the bands for you?
My other partner, Dave, who's one of the owners.
Doing it in-house?
Yep, and he's here tonight. Would love to come up after me and add a few more points.
All right. How many, so live, you're distinguishing between concerts and live music events. You're saying you had one concert, but you do have regular live music events, which the live music events must be causing an issue for the neighbors as well. What additional measures can you take to reduce the noise, mitigate the effect of the noise on the neighbors?
We could just make sure that's not turned up too loud. I mean, I'm not an acoustic guy. I'm not going to stand up here and give you a million different ways. I do say, like I said before, we do go around and we check with the decibel meter. We're allowed to go up to 65. We're allowed to be open until 10, 11 o'clock at night. We shut down at 9 o'clock. We do last call at 8:30. We get really aggressive getting people out of the door by 9:15. If anybody's left outside by the fire pits or whatnot, we start flashing lights. We're super aggressive. Our employees want to go home. We don't want to be loud for the neighbors. So it's not, a lot of the times when the police come or we get these phone calls, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. It's not necessarily 8 o'clock or 8:30. Our music has wound down by then. We're just cleaning up glasses and getting people out the door.
What time?
Well, music usually winds down around 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yep.
What products are you allowed to sell?
Beer.
That's it,
Yep.
right?
We're allowed to sell water and Gatorade and whatnot, but in terms of alcoholic products, beer.
You sell beer and you can sell other non-alcoholic beverages.
Correct.
You're not allowed to sell food?
We
Or
can
you
sell
are?
prepackaged food.
You can sell prepackaged
And we're allowed to
food
have
as well.
food trucks.
And you're allowed to have food trucks?
Yep.
Okay. What other questions from council?
Maybe just a statement, I guess. I kind of understand where the folks are coming from. You move out to an area where you want to have quality of life, right? Some people like living more in the suburbs. Some people like, the country. I grew up in a neighborhood of Hamilton that for years was hundreds of acres behind my house, and it got developed eventually. I lived on the border of Robbinsville, and nothing like this, and I don't think anybody has an objection to the brewery being there. It's more of an objection to what they have to put up with the music. And I think it's just a part of being a good neighbor. I'm not saying you're not a good neighbor. I'm just saying we got to be better neighbors, right? We got to be cognizant and respectful of the people that live out there, right? And try to tone it down. I don't think they're objecting to music. It's just the amplification of it that is causing disturbances amongst the community. I mean, the last, I think it was last month or maybe 2 meetings ago when it first came up, and there was a couple gentlemen that came that night and spoke about it, and I tend to agree with them. And now we have more residents that are starting to come out and complain about it, and they're trying to send a message that they just want you to tone it down. Just tone it down. Let's be good neighbors. And I think you are, right? I think you're trying to do a good thing. You run the business. I have no problem with it. I think, these microbreweries and stuff that are popping up, I think it's good opportunities for people that want to start a business. But we have to recognize the surroundings of where your establishment is and just be more respectful. I think that's what it comes down to. And
I don't disagree with you.
Well, I think you're hearing the complaints and you're hearing from us, and I think it's just a matter of just changing that business operation of just turn the volume down. Just turn the volume down. I don't think anybody's going to leave because you turn the volume down. Everybody wants to hear loud music. I get it, it's a setting or whatever, but I also like to hear music too, but I also want to be able to talk to the person next to me, without the music amplifying my conversation out. So I think that's what they're asking is just be good neighbors and work with the residents that surround that surround your business operation. Maybe I need to come out on a Saturday and listen to it myself. I tend to try and get out of town once in a while, but maybe I have to come out. I mean, I've driven on your property. I've seen the operation. Yeah, it looks great. I never knew about the concerts, and the music. I'm not against the music. It's just, let's just tone it down, please.
Like I said, I don't disagree with your comments. We do plan on reaching out to the neighbors to try to sit down and talk with everybody and find some middle ground.
Yeah, I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you are listening to your neighbors. I also appreciate how many of your neighbors have come out to express their concern, to express the fact that your business is causing a disruption in the neighborhood to what was a quiet neighborhood, and I'm concerned. And I appreciate that you pointed out you could be perhaps louder, you could perhaps have more music, right? Within the law. But that position, then you're forcing us to act. So my hope is that you'll act to get into harmonious relations with your neighbors and not force us to act. That's my hope.
Understood.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea, having a meeting with your neighbors. Invite them to your facility and have an open dialogue with them and just listen to what their concerns are.
I agree.
Appreciate you coming up and
Thank you.
The brunt. Thank you.
Nice talking to you guys.
Thank you. Who else who hasn't had a chance to talk yet would like to come up? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Hi, my name is Cliffenzie Leitner. I live on 639 Schiller.
Thank you.
So I have been in direct contact with the landlord of the property. I was the one that initially reported the incident that happened 2 Sundays ago to him. And he was, he's very nice and he was very responsive. And later that he told me give him till the end of day, and I gave him till the end of day. And he sent me a text back that he issued a 3-day notice to quit the property. I followed up with him about a week and a half later, and last Friday he told me that the notice was sent, and he even sent me a copy of the notice. But from what I understand, I don't know the law that well. Most of these types of people, they know the laws too, so they're probably going to fight it to the end. Until it goes in through eviction court for this to go through, for them to be, physically removed or forcibly removed rather. I've been on Schiller at that address for 22 years. I've raised children there. I have 2 daughters in college right now, and I seriously don't want them to come home because of what's going on. One of the residents there made an advance at my youngest daughter, 18 years old, coming from college. She asked, can she park in an empty spot? They were double parked. And they told her, if you give her my phone number, I'll let you park there. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. My daughter's coming home for fall break this coming weekend. I don't want her to come home, and that should not be. We've never had this types of incidents on that street before. We've seen ambulance for people who get sick, fire trucks for home emergencies, but we've never seen this much police activity since I've lived there. Never. And it's very disheartening. Yeah. The other day, a car backfired or driving past, and since that incident, I've laid flat on my couch. And that should not be a reaction that I have.
I just have to say, you live in a nice neighborhood. You have a disruption right now. We want to protect your neighborhood, protect you, protect your safety, and protect your quality of life. So we're taking this seriously, and we're gonna get updates. Tomorrow we're gonna have more information about what's being done, and we will communicate with you regarding this.
Thank you.
Thank you
for the time.
Thank you for coming in. Any other folks who haven't had a chance? Janice, and then you're next.
And anybody that wants to finish their 2 minutes.
And then we'll get to 2 minutes.
Janice Klonick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights.
Hello, Janice.
Okay, thank you for the update of when to be, and I made sure I had perfect attendance, even though my water heaters flooded my basement at 4 o'clock today, so I was able to get out in time to get here, but I have a very good plumber. But as to your discussion about the tavern, the brewery, I don't want to get my definitions wrong here. I think it was, what you said was right. I mean, they have their decibel meter, true, but what is acceptable to people according to the meter and what's acceptable to the people in real life are 2 different ball games. And if I was an owner and I knew I was upsetting this many people, I would do my utmost to make them happy. So that way they still like me in the neighborhood, and like I said, it's a shame they built so close to the neighborhood, why they had so much land, why they didn't build farther away. But if the people are upset, you want your neighbors to be happy, and the music will still be playing, but lower it to the level that makes them happy. They're the ones that have to listen to this. It might not be their type of music either, so why would, and they have to put up with it. So make your neighbors happy, you're still playing the music, but put it down so everybody enjoys their life out there. They were there first, and so they're the ones that built there. They're the ones that wanted to live there because it was so nice and quiet. Don't ruin their neighborhood. Calm it down to adjust to them, and you have your music. Don't go, of course the decibels are like this. I mean, your decibel and my decibel are 2 different ball games. So go according to their decibel. They're the ones that have to put up with it 365 days a year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the young lady in the t-shirt, the pancakes t-shirt.
I'm Julia Ricca. I'm Mike's wife. I live at 9 Heathwood.
part of the bent iron situation. I actually have two issues. I think a lot's been said on that. I just wanted to note that when they had their agreement with the agricultural board, they said light background music and didn't intend to host concerts. Just wanted to say that. Another issue we've had consistently, probably about 2 or 3 times, we have an acre of property. We're paying over $11,000 in taxes every year. Sometimes we hire help. Somebody comes in, they take our leaves and they take our, brush. The person who cuts our lawn occasionally, like I said, and helps out with that stuff, he's been harassed twice and had the police threaten to be called on him by the brush pickup people. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, and if you could, make sure that stops, that would be nice. They said we're not allowed to have hired help put brush out and have them pick it up. As far as I know.
That's actually true.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's true.
How is that true?
Yep.
You're hiring somebody to do the work.
Well, in the last instance, I'm sorry. In the last instance that this happened, all the stuff that was on the curb was actually for me, and it had been sitting there for an entire month. And it just so happened that the man that was helping us was there and generated about this much waste, and he was the one who got caught and harassed.
Just so you know, we and most municipalities, I think it's pretty standard. Professional landscapers have to take away the debris that they create, whereas a resident can put it out and we will pick it up.
Okay, so leaves, brush of any sort.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that still did happen though. It was very long pile that I had put out, and yes, he was harassed about it. It wasn't him. So yeah.
Well, hopefully, everyone can be civil about it.
I hope so. All right.
Thank you. Okay, any other folks who haven't had a chance to speak, who would like to get up? Seeing none, we'll go to a round of 2 minutes, and we'll go right from the top. So, Mr. Schramm, you're okay. Mike?
Hello again, Mike Riga, 9 Heathwood Lane. Mainly, I want to question Mr. Dumont. I've never met you. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And also the owners, I've never met you as well. The codes require the measurements be taken at the receiving property, not the source. I'm not a sound engineer, but I know sound travels. At the source, it's going to be a different reading than what you're hearing further away. And the policy specifically says it should be read at the receiving side, and I believe nobody's had any engineer on their property checking these levels. Also, they mentioned the 65 decibel maximum, which is true, but in the thing I mentioned prior, section 311-8, it also has to remain within 6 decibels of the residual sound. Fred mentioned that all we heard was crickets before. Music over crickets is clearly going to be a huge difference in decibels. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Ms. Leanne?
So Chair, decimal guns were taken at the fence line in the property.
That's not on the property.
Okay. Thank you. Who else would like to get up for 2 minutes? We'll go over here. In the green shirt. We'll go with the gentleman in the green shirt to start. We'll come over here, and we'll go to you.
Well, again, it's Rick Chimano, 37 East Acres. I know the owner was up here for a little bit much more than 4 minutes. So I don't know if that was because of the questions, but I have a lot more than I think I'm going to get through in the 2 minutes. I mentioned before that we do not feel supported by the town so far. We had a meeting that I had scheduled. I tried to schedule it before the G-Love concert, a week before. The only response that we got was that they went out there with one of the township inspectors, found out that they were doing some type of sound measurement on a Wednesday when there was no music going on, and then we were told that they made a decision at the end of it that they are in compliance. How can you determine compliance on a day when there's no music going on? When we finally did meet with Fred Dumont, this was...
Quick question. I know this doesn't impact your 2 minutes, but you said that they met with township officials to do a test?
We received an email from one of the inspectors went out there. I could get the dates for all these things. They said that they went out and they made a determination
that they are in compliance. I do not
On a day when a
understand-
concert or live music was not
It was on a Wednesday afternoon. It was a day before we met with Mr. Dumont, and he basically is saying that they went out there and did some type of an inspection. I have no other information other than that. I can provide you with the email if you need to.
Well,
I'm
okay.
sorry, I do not have that information. So I requested a meeting. So 2 days after the council meeting, I did not get the meeting that I requested before the G-Love concert. We had very valid concerns about security. This was above and beyond the norm. This was the first time that they're now a paid concert venue. We're dealing with a stone pony situation. I'm going to ask them, was new zoning approved? Isn't this a commercial concert venue when you're now charging people? It's a 21 and above event. I don't want to get hung up on that G-Love thing though, because that's not the pressing issue for me on a day-to-day basis. When they have live music, they only have them once a week, twice a week. But what's to stop this in the future? A precedent is going to be set with how this is dealt with this board. I want to know factually, who is the person that's measuring the decibel levels? Are they measuring it on my property? And I'd like to meet with them and find out what is the science. This is not an opinion. These codes are science. I'm an engineer. I'm very analytical. I understand these are not things, we have people up here talking about 6 decibels above base levels. We have other people using things from Amazon. There should be a professional involved in this, making permanent records of these events. And to get back to this meeting that we had, I have a meeting scheduled with me and Dan.
Make your point as quickly as you can.
It was supposed to be the two of us. I had a list of different things that I wanted to discuss. I showed up at the meeting, and all of my fine neighbors were there. I was great to see them. We were very surprised that we got lumped into a big group meeting. And instead of me getting to be able to sit down and go through the things that I wanted to do, Fred was very dismissive to me. There were people, he mischaracterized some things that I said about the police officers. I don't know what's going on with the situation. I don't know if I've rubbed him the wrong way. I didn't do anything except for show up to a meeting, and then we're here tonight, we're hearing about him pleading to have an owner come up here and talk about it. I do not feel that we are being adequately represented in this situation. And the last points that I want to make is that I'm trying to figure out when this project went from a 38 parking spot thing to a new parking lot that was added after the meeting that we had with them initially that now has an additional 145 parking spaces. At some point, we were sold something, and then we were delivered something completely different. And somehow the township was involved in that. None of us know how it happened, but we were told it was going to be this quiet, small event. We had a pre-meeting with the owners. They seemed like this was not our concern in the beginning. And it turned into an absolute nightmare for us that we're continuing to deal with. Thank you.
Can I talk about this meeting?
You want to respond?
Absolutely. Call for a meeting. 2 people to come in. Then we received other calls from people who wanted to meet. We brought everybody in. And if you have an objection to that, you think we perform wrong, I'd love to hear it. But I think we work for all the residents. And that's why we brought everybody into one meeting and heard everybody at that meeting. Right?
Thank you, Fred. 2 minutes. Let's see, we were going to go over here. Yes.
Dennis Conk, 607 Shore Avenue. I just wanted to touch upon one other thing, because we're trying to get all my thoughts out. So previously, before the shooting, months prior, my spouse, they work as a flight attendants to come home all different hours of the night. And when they were going to the house, there was 2 people walking down the sidewalk coming from that residence. One was very distraught, and the other one was kind of like chasing after them to like come back. And the female said, "I don't care if they have an effing gun." So that was something to add to that conversation. And then lastly, I commend all the neighbors for sticking together for the brewery. But I did want to throw that out there that due to the nature of what's going on there, the 600 block of Schiller, a lot of people don't want to get involved because they live there. They don't so even myself, being in the military, the police officer said, "Hey, we see you have," but some of the people from that residence were sitting on the corner at one house away. They said, "Hey, no disrespect to the officer, but it said, hey, we see you have cameras. Do you have any footage? And I was like, can you like go away, please? Like, I don't want to be, putting myself out there. So then I called the police off. I called the non-emergency number after he walked away. And I said, can you have the officer come back in about 30 minutes? Because they were out there for a couple hours. The officer came to the door. We invited him into the house. We provided all the video surveillance that he wanted. So a lot of the neighbors, they don't want to because they live there. They don't want their house vandalized. They don't want the cars vandalized. So had it been something else, like, the Brent Iron Brewery, maybe we'd have the entire block here to represent. But when you say shooting up a house, a lot of people, they don't want to get involved. They're afraid. I've talked to other residents, but they're concerned for the safety of their spouse, their kids, their property, their cars. They don't want anything vandalized. So that's why we don't have the ginormous presence. Dave, myself, and his wife and my neighbor, we were brave enough to come here, speak on it, because, hopefully the action. We appreciate everything you do. I would not want to be in your shoes, and I commend you for being up here because this is a situation that I know you guys, I feel confident that you're going to do something about it, but this is just one more thing on your plate. So I respect that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I just want to reassure you, we take this matter very seriously. It doesn't matter if there had been one of you who came out and reported what you reported tonight, we would be taking it just as seriously.
Sure.
This is an extremely serious matter. This is a serious matter.
It is, yeah.
They're all serious matters.
Sure.
And when you live in a neighborhood, your quality of life is being disrupted, it's a serious matter. But
it just looks good when you have more ammunition with the numbers.
The level of threat here is next level, and we're taking it very seriously.
Thank you.
We're going to be following up on it tomorrow, and
thank you for your time.
It's going to be addressed. One of the things we can't sit here and say that we're going to wave a magic wand and have something happen on the time frame that we would all like it to happen, which is instantly, right? But I can assure all of you here tonight that it will be addressed. This matter, this is being addressed and will continue to be addressed until it's solved. You live in a nice neighborhood. You live in a family neighborhood, a lot of children. It's always been a great neighborhood, eclectic, just really a lot of appeal. We don't want to see that. We don't want to lose that.
Sure.
It's important. So this has to be addressed. It can't be allowed to go on. So it's going to be addressed. We're going to be in touch.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
And on this matter, we've heard from, yes, sir, for the first time. Okay, thank you.
Hi, David Sass. I'm also one of the owners of Bent Iron Brewing, 70 Extonville. Just wanted to bring up a couple quick points in 2 minutes. Apologies for not signing in when we came in. There's nothing nefarious. We came in the back door, didn't want to interrupt the Pledge of Allegiance.
No requirements to sign it.
Yeah.
Okay. One point I want to make, we did go to the Ewing, to the Ag Board yesterday, and apologies if our message didn't come across as intended. We were trying to show that we were good neighbors, realize that screening and trees and fences don't address a noise issue, but we did do all those out of our pocket, and we realized being a good neighbor is important. I think somebody brought it up, I'm not sure who did, but all these meetings that have happened, neighborhood meetings, we haven't been invited to one of them. We didn't know that any of this was being discussed at the town council last week. We got that secondhand and watched it on YouTube, and also got secondhand that we were being discussed last night. We are open to discuss. We want to find a solution here. I've given out, and Peter's given out his cell phone number before. I was just about to give it out here, but I think this goes on YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm happy to stay after. And anyone that wants to have my cell phone number, we've got to figure out a way to get everybody to talk. That was the point of the message last night, not that bushes and trees and everything address the issues there, but we're willing and we want to be good neighbors and work with the neighbors. got to figure out a way to communicate. We would have loved to known if this was happening beforehand. We actually do have a lot of support in the neighborhood. If we had time, we knew this is coming, well, maybe we probably would have brought support, but, there is a flip side to this too. But I guess my real point is, we're looking for a way to communicate. Again, I want to make sure that that's crystal clear to everybody here if it wasn't last night. I'll hang around, Pete will hang around after. We want to exchange cell phone numbers, figure out a place to meet, whatever works. And thank you for your time.
So, David, thank you for being here. I'm hopeful that this can be worked out. We have the parties here. Everybody has been listening to one another, and I'm hopeful that there quickly can come to a resolution, right? Because we do have an extraordinary number of your neighbors who've come out, and those are a percentage of the folks actually, as one of your neighbors pointed out, a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to come to a council meeting on a weeknight, right, to be sitting here at 8:15, talking about these matters, right? So we have a lot of folks who have taken the time to come out. I'm hopeful that you can all come together and work this out. I will say it's not the first time we've had sound issues in the township. We had a ball field that installed a Yankee Stadium-sized sound system, and that had to be addressed. And eventually we got to a point where the kids could have their walk-on music, right? The parents could enjoy it, and the players could enjoy it without neighbors a mile away being subjected to it, right? So hopefully we can get to a point where your patrons, your customers are able to enjoy music without your neighbors being subjected to it. So that's my hope, is that everybody can get together, we can figure this out, because then we don't have to get in the middle of it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to have this dialogue.
We share that same hope and think there's a way to work things out.
Okay. You've already been up twice, so you don't get to come up a third time.
We're asking you to get involved with it. That's what I'm saying. We need help.
All right, listen, guys, you can't be talking. We're gonna hear from your neighbor, and
That's right. You keep getting
I apologize.
I can go back if you want.
No, go ahead.
Let's give him his 2 minutes, and then you're next.
50 Post Lane. I'd like to bring up two separate things. I only have 2 minutes. You folks are homeowners, I would assume, okay? Probably you own your own homes. You have thoughts of selling those homes at some point, right? Right? Or at least passing them along. I mean, I'm asking you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're familiar with open houses, right? When are open houses? Wednesdays?
Weekends.
Tuesday nights? No, they're Saturdays, they're Sundays.
Sundays.
How can I assure that I can have an open house to sell my property without there being St. Greg's Carnival next to it or Woodstock next to it? I just want to know these kind of things. Like longevity is part of this. These are legacy homes with legacy families. We want to pass this on, or we want to get out and get as much as we deserve. And I feel like this situation is going to put a hindrance on that. So is there any way that we can maybe think about the longevity? Also, what happens with this brewery in 10 years? What happens with it in 20 years? Their expansion is limited. They can't expand their canning on their property. They don't have any more farm to keep growing on. So there's a possibility that this might have a lifespan. This may not be Yingling. Okay, there could be an end to this where beer isn't popular or whatever. We can't afford to buy it anymore. Who knows what could happen? What happens to the disabled neighborhood now that we have this defunct brewery behind it in time? Okay, that's one point. The second part is, I don't know Mr. Dumont. I've met him at this meeting for the first time. I have two takeaways from that meeting. One, he gave a very emotional, personal testimonial about Mr. Britton. He said Peter Britton is a good man. Must have said it 10 times. We didn't ask. I don't doubt him, but I don't know why he was so animate to tell us that. The second thing is, and I think one of you brought this up at the last council meeting, was that when we talked about the sound, somebody said wall. Somebody said we should put up a sound wall. It was like, without even thinking, it kind of just got muttered out of somebody's mouth on the council. Mr. Dumont, whose background I have no idea, was adamant that we don't want that. We don't want to put up a wall. We don't want a partition. We don't want to block the sound. Now, the brewery has been good enough to plant their own plants, push the dirt up, build a berm. So let's have the township put a wall on the other side of all that growth so the brewery doesn't have anything change from their aesthetics, and we don't have so much exposure to them. Think about it. Thank you.
Mr. Snook, is it Mr. Snook?
That's correct.
Please.
I heard tonight for the first time that Ben Iron accepted responsibility for that concert. I wish I had heard it before. I've had a lot of problems with communication with the township. I think that decision was, excuse me?
With the township?
With the township. A lot of problems.
Okay.
Okay. After our September 18th meeting. Okay. So one of the things that bothered me, I watched last time's video, and one of my neighbors who said that his son is on the spectrum and that it was so bad that he had to take his son from the premises. If that is not a health and safety concern that strikes within each one of you, then I think we got a problem. I think it's very sad that someone would have to remove their child from a premises because of an outside interference. So just think about it.
Are you, and I don't mean to be argumentative, but are you under the impression that we're not concerned about your issue?
Not at all.
Are you under the impression that we don't intend to act if
Not at all.
necessary? Thank you.
Not at all.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
No,
Based on some of what I'm hearing here in the later.
No, not at all. And I think, let's go to the next point. Yesterday, I did a little research. I feel like it's a part-time job for me now. I'm retired 17 years, and I feel like I got a part-time job now, okay? I was looking for regulations, and that was when I found that regulation that I quoted when I first got up here. And it says that DEP is responsible for monitoring noise. But on a call to DEP, I had a return call from a lovely woman, very conscientious lady, who told me that they contract with the county Department of Health to monitor noise complaints. You're off the hook. You're off the hook. The county's responsible for it. They have a contract with DEP to monitor sound complaints. Why didn't anybody know that? Last night, the county didn't know it. So I'm kind of shocked about that. So all I'm asking is, I think the real thrust of it, and I think Mr. Whalen, and I thank you very much, hit the nail on the head, is common sense. Because if the limit is 60, and you in your homes take a stereo system and set it for 59, and put it in the center of your street at 8 o'clock at night while it's dark out right now, I don't think your neighbors will be happy. I think the township will get a lot of calls, all right? So we're looking for not 3 decibels, not 2 decibels, not 5 decibels from the limit. We're talking about common sense.
Mr. Snook,
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask you a quick question, because, our last council meeting, we had neighbors speak. Some of the same neighbors came this meeting.
Yes.
And you're just one of the residents here.
Yes.
Was this something that was building up throughout the summer into September, and then the September 13th date hit, and that concert just was the breaking point? Is that what I'm hearing from? Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. And I wish there had been some admission of culpability initially. I really do, because as I said to you before, it was a public relations nightmare. It really was for them. And, you know, we're talking about these sound levels, and people are talking about, I go out in my backyard, there's 12 pages of regulations on calibrating sound devices. If this has to get into a legal process, everybody's going to be challenging, well, what kind did you use? What time did you calibrate it? Did you do it every hour like you're supposed to? Did you put up a windscreen? Because that's what lawyers do. They try to undermine the evidence, and that can go both ways. You know, so we really need to avoid this and use, as Mr. Whalen said, common sense. All of, you know.
That's also why I'm hoping that the parties here, the neighbors, can get together. It's not that we're not here to be involved. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm hoping that everyone involved here can come together and use common sense and solve this problem.
I
It's a
really
noise
appreciate
problem.
that.
It should be able to be solved relatively quickly. This shouldn't have to be an ongoing issue that we're still talking about in a month or 2 months. This is an issue that should be able to be solved relatively quickly. So my hope is everyone will come together and solve it, and that we don't have to get in
Intervene.
the middle and take action. That's
Absolutely.
my hope.
I hope, that's great. You've never seen me before. I've never been to council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My last words.
Director Dumas.
I will not live in a town where we allow sound barriers 20 foot high between disputing neighbors or businesses. That was not a good look. That's not what our town needs to be of. I stand firm in that statement. Mr. Snook talked about communication with the town. On September 23rd, he writes to me, did Peter Britton acknowledge that it was poor judgment to have the performance at the brewery? Does he have any intention of apologizing to demonstrate his previously stated goodwill to his neighbors? Mr. Britton did apologize to me. Mr. Snook asked me if he did. I am not going to divulge my conversations with any one individual. Reason I wanted Peter Britton to come up so he could say what he said tonight is what he said to me. All right? And I told you we've monitored every situation. Not one township employee who has been out there on weekends or night has been compensated for their time. Not one. They've all done it on their own, to going out there to accommodate and make sure we could get control of the situation. Not one. And Mrs. Monzo will tell me that I violated several collective bargaining agreements by asking people to do that. All right? We are on this situation. We're working it. We're working it every single event. We have their schedule. We have people going out there. We're doing it. All right?
Fred, I appreciate everything you're saying. What I'm hearing from the residents is there's an ongoing problem. That's what I'm hearing from them. I hear you're addressing it, right, within the limitations of the law as it's currently written. That's what you're able to do. And so that raises the question, does our law go far enough? Do we have to do more? Or can everyone there be good neighbors and work it out? My hope is everybody can work it out, but at the same time, this is a discussion we're going to have where we look and see if our laws go far enough. If, in fact, our laws are being enforced to the letter and it's still causing a disturbance where the neighbors are inside their homes with the windows closed and are unable to peacefully enjoy their homes, that's a problem. And that's not your fault if you're going out and enforcing the laws it's written and the law doesn't go far enough. So that's something that we have to talk about, and it's not going to happen overnight. It takes months for us to change a law. We have to do research, we have to workshop it, we have to talk through. This is not a simple matter to change a law if we were to do so. So this is not something where we're not always able to provide solutions as quickly as we would like to, but we will work toward a solution. And I understand, Fred, that you and your staff are also working toward a solution within the constraints that you have, which is the laws as they're currently written.
My third point is this, and the neighbors know this, I shared this all with them. A house recently sold on Old York Road for $1.1 million. Nobody's home value is being affected by this. Nobody. Homes in Hamilton Township continue to climb right through the roof. And that 1.1 million, when the next house comes up to it, that'll be 1.2 million. It continues to go. We are working to the best. We're using all our talents, and the Hamilton PD, I stand by them too. They're using all their talents out here. You have a lot of township employees who are focused on this. A lot of time and effort have gone to this with health, engineering, and PD. All right?
Hold on, Mr. Fernandez Obregon.
I just have one question for you, actually.
If you can, into the mic though. Thank you, sir.
Fred, you said he's doing everything he can within his power. That's great, okay? But there was an email list that went out at the 18th meeting, and there was no feedback on that. So he needs to communicate that feedback to us and to the residents, to the people down there. Same thing goes with when I discussed the roadway issues, that the woman's gonna get back to me. Why did I have to bring it up? I shouldn't have to bring it up. I sent that on the 18th. And then if they had an evaluation and everything, I should have gotten some feedback. So I think feedback is important to make sure that what he's saying he's doing, we know what he's doing. And that way, kind of like tones everybody down. And that's what's missing here.
Thank you. 2 minutes.
Dave Maldonado, 638 Shore Avenue again. Just want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking this matter seriously. Obviously, you know, and also I was going to bring up the point that Dennis brought up, that there's several other neighbors and owners out there that would be here today if not for fear of retaliation, you know, and things like that. I mean, some of you already know my background. I was a cop in Trenton for 30 years. I could take care of myself. I'm not at home all the time. My wife is at home, and that's what's the chilling effect that this incident had on me. I was home watching a football game at night when I heard, you know, all this commotion going outside. I stood on my porch, and I see these people, and I can see right away that this was going bad, right from the way they were acting. And I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us and ask that you assist us in any which way that you possibly can to rectify the situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Janice?
I love these tall people. Janice Glonick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. It sounds like things might be workable, which I sincerely hope they are. And like I said, I owning a business would not want people upset with me, so I would do what I can. Decibels, like I said before. And if really that poor gentleman who had to leave because of his son, he should have called and said, come into my house and listen in my house what I'm hearing. And then you might not think it's loud at the brewery, but when you come into somebody's house, you go, oh my God, you're right. It is a lot louder than I thought it could be. So you go into and see, oh yes, that is happening, you know, so I need to tone it down. Just because it doesn't sound bad when you get in there, and if you have a child, especially that's being disturbed by this, that is really mind-boggling, all right? It can be worked out. They seem like they're nice gentlemen, you know, just tone it down. Music is playing, and I mean, I know these kids, the louder it is, it's, you know, blow their brains out. That's what they want, but that's not the way life can be, you know? You have to calm it down. You know, if you want loud music, go home and listen to it. Blow your windows out. But in the neighborhood here, these people were there first. They want it quiet. The brewery can be a very good neighbor, and it would bring them, because these people would then recommend, oh, we have a really nice brewery, you can come, you know, because they keep things toned down and work together. You can do it, you know. Like I said, decibels are one thing. Getting along with your neighbor is another thing. That's the most important thing. And do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I would not want to do something to offend somebody. So if I'm doing something that upsets you, I would definitely stop it so that we all can be happy. And these poor people, they have earned their wings. They need to make sure that situation is taken care of really quickly, because that is life-threatening. And so that needs to be eradicated immediately, as soon as possible.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to reiterate, like Dave said, Cleveland Z Lightner, 639 Schiller. I just want to reiterate, like Dave said, about property value. You know, that's one of our concerns too. You know, when you start to have these types of disturbances in the neighborhood, it brings down property value. And I've been there 22 years. And when you start considering, should I sell? I mean, that was never my intention. My son, who lives in Florida, he's like, Mom, do not sell. I want the house, you know? So those are one of our concerns as well. Not just quality, I mean, quality of health obviously is priority, but secondarily, property value is important too. Thank you.
Miss?
Cynthia Snook, 28 East Acres. First, I'd like to address about the meeting that we had on September 18th with the Economic Development. There was the director, an assistant, a secretary, an inspection officer, and also a police officer. We talked about, I asked about minutes at the beginning of the meeting, and they said that minutes would be taken and distributed to us. An email list of every attendee was there and provided. And to date, we have no minutes. Any communications that we have had have been specific questions with vague, delayed answers, ambiguous answers, and not detailed answers. So
What
we
was the
talked
date of
about
that
my-
meeting?
September 18th.
Pardon me?
September 18th?
September 18th
September
was that what meeting? Yeah. And communication since then, you know, through email. As far as I have called Bent Iron on several occasions about the music, there have been delays in responses. They have my telephone number. They can easily reach out. And this past event, that was a special occasion event, I called and told them that the music had to go down. I said, I am a gardener. I'm out in my yard. I can feel the vibration coming up through my lawn, into my legs. I cannot hear. And I invite you to come to my backyard and listen to this. And he said, well, you know, he called back 45 minutes after I placed my initial call, and happened to be a break in the music at the time. Oh, I don't hear anything. I said, I want the music turned down. It's too loud. Well, I don't hear anything. He says, I'm in a building in another part of the property. I said, you mean to tell me you have no one that you could call while you're having this event to tell them to turn down the music? And then later on, during the dinner hour, when we were trying to eat dinner on our back porch and heard the same blasting noise, we had to call the police. Is that our resort? So,
How common is this occurrence?
well, I called Memorial Day about noise when they had live music, and I called on when they had that G-Love special occasion event. And I see that on their website that they have another ticketed special occasion event or closed event or something meet and greet at the shore in November. So I don't know if it's outside, if it's inside, what's going on. What I'm trying to convey to you is that up until now, up until tonight, there has never been outreach. There's never been outreach to me. They have my cell phone number. I invited them to my property. You know. So there's a lot of not going into this with a real good feeling.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Britton.
Peter Britton, Bent Iron. Just want to put everybody's mind at ease. The ticketed event that everyone keeps mentioning is an Upper Freehold High School fundraiser. It's not a music event. Cast from the Jersey Shore TV show are coming. It's a fundraiser. It's not. We're not doing the concerts again. We've already mention that. So just because there's a ticketed event that we're going to have at the brewery, 21 or over or not, does not mean it's going to be a concert, because we're not doing that again. So just want to get on the record for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clarification. Anyone else who hasn't had a second? Yes, sir.
I'm Bill Taft, live in 11 Old Post Lane in West Acres. I'm adjacent to the farm. I'm I'm 3 or 4 houses down, so the problems that Rick has mentioned and Dan have mentioned, they're right there. It's a little less of an issue for us, but again, the event, the G-Love event, the ground vibrated all through the neighborhood. It was, the base was, I think, a problem. What I'd recommend is, I'd ask Pete, I think you and Fred Dumont can get together and calibrate your meters, so that your meter is in line with the township's meter. So you can, when you do a measurement at the property line, you can know at least you're meeting the requirements. Okay. The other thing I'd recommend, and I had this discussion after the meeting yesterday with Pete and with Dave from the brewery, that we probably should meet face to face. I mean, I think there's been a lot of this going on. Broken communication. I've had a face-to-face conversation. There may be an element of trust that's a concern between us, the neighbors, and the brewery. But I think a face-to-face meeting, whether it's at the brewery or some other location, I think would make sense. We can work out. I think the problem is different for different neighbors. I think the people that are closest to the border are the ones that are of most concern. And I think those are the ones that need to, if those are addressed, the rest of the neighborhood will be fine.
No.
Like we have to
Oh, yeah. Could you speak into the microphone?
Yeah, if the neighbors that are on the border, right, Dan and Rick, if those, if we can address those issues for those neighbors, that will clear the rest of the neighborhood. So I think that's the sensitive point that I think needs to be worked, and I think we need to do it face to face. I think again, I think I just found out talking to Pete yesterday that they actually have a meter that they go around with. Now, it may not be calibrated, but at least there's an attempt to, control the level. Now, again, G-Love, that was, the other end of the neighborhood shook, not just the front end, but the back end of the neighborhood shook. We have relatives that live at the end of Heathwood
that sound you heard
I'm done. Okay,
was your time
anyway,
expiring.
it was a shaking event. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think everyone's had a chance at this point, so I'm going to thank everyone for coming and expressing your concerns, your frustrations, and we're going to move on to council comment.
I'll go.
Would like to start?
I'll go. I guess tonight we could call it a quality of life meeting, okay? Because that's what the main discussions were tonight, besides the agenda that we had before us. Hopefully, we got something accomplished tonight, not only for the people that live out near the brewery, but also for the people of Shore Avenue. I agree with almost everything that the residents said. I listened to what the owners of the brewery said, and I'm hoping that within the next couple days that they reach out and the residents that want to go attend a meeting there can sit down and have an open discussion, a civilized open discussion, that we could come up with some type of resolution that's going to address your needs as residents for quality of life. Regarding Mr. Dumont, okay, I got to speak on Fred's behalf. You might not agree with me, and that's okay. I've known Fred Dumont for many years, but I've had the pleasure of working with him for the last 5 years as a councilman and him as Director of Economic Development. And I could say firsthand that there's many a times that I've picked up the phone, whether it was a neighbor calling me with a problem, and pick up that phone and call Fred Dumont, and I got results.
I don't think it was because I was a councilman. Well, you might shake your head and say, well, it is because he's a councilman, okay? But that helps, okay, it helps. But I know him personally for many, many years, and I know the type of person he is. He's a quality guy, okay? He really is. And he has, what I would say, like he says, we are a big community. You know, Hamilton Township's a big community. It's got many issues, right? Whether it's paving the roads, whether it's quality of life issues that we're talking about tonight. Picking up, whatever the case may be. I've called him on a number of occasions. Sometimes just something that I might see with my own naked eye, right? I'm riding around the township, I see something, I know I could pick up the phone, but he gets back to me, gets results. Okay, and that's important to me. Okay, no matter who's in there, it could be anybody. Hopefully, whoever that next person may be, after Fred is gone, that he carries the torch too, and acts professionally also. So, again, I would hope that as these issues get resolved, that people would have hold a different opinion of Fred, because he loves this town and he cares about the community and the residents. It's not about, you know, relationship that he has with the brewery or any other business, okay? Believe me, I know personally there's been a lot of businesses in this township that have been cited over the 5 years that I've been here for not doing what they were supposed to do also. So let's take that in consideration. I think, again, this was very productive. I hope Ben Iron gets the message too, you know, about being a good neighbor. So I look to hear from hopefully the residents. Maybe they come to the next meeting or meeting after that once things get resolved, and could come here and say, you know what, we had a good productive meeting, and since then we've come up with some let's say harmony, you know, amongst between the brewery and the residents of in that area. So with that, I wish everybody safe travels. No, this ain't up for questions. Well, go ahead. You want to ask me a question? Sure, go ahead.
Well, you're gonna have to.
I mean, come to the mic.
Come to the microphone. And we really are, I'm allowing it, but this is really outside decorum.
Yep,
So
but go ahead.
Make it very quick.
It's just about the fact that I don't understand tonight, you're speaking for Fred Dumont, and he may be a stand-up guy, but that's why I said we don't feel represented. He came here tonight and seemingly purported himself as a real estate agent, a sound engineer, telling us what type of walls. He's getting involved in the solution that we're supposed to be negotiating with people. I don't even understand why we need to be involved. Why is this involving us? This should be fixed. There is regulations and rules. I've already met with them. We've already done the due diligence to meet with them ahead of time. Why are we still involved?
The reason you're involved is because we don't know there's a problem unless the residents tell us there's a problem. This is a town of 40 square miles with 90,000 residents, and it's incumbent on every citizen to do their duty when there's a problem and to report it. That's why you're involved. So I appreciate your involvement. And it is going to take us some time, and no one here has been dismissive of your concerns.
I understand.
Two things can be true at once.
Yes.
You can have a legitimate concern that needs to be addressed, and Fred Dumont can be doing his job. Those two things are both true. So if you hear someone defending Fred Dumont, so be it.
That's fine.
I'm defending you. And so to stand here and say that no one's looking out for you or representing you is incorrect.
I didn't say.
Because
we don't
I think
feel
I've been
that.
pretty hard on that business owner tonight.
I said we don't feel that we're represented.
Well, I'm sorry you don't
We're
feel
not.
that. I hope other people feel
We would
differently.
love to get that feeling. That's
All right.
we want the good Fred feeling. We want the good, every feeling that something is being done for us, because right now, we wouldn't all be here if we didn't feel like we were being
But I think you've heard from us tonight. I mean, we're not, it's not falling on deaf ears.
So you're telling us.
Wait, no,
listen,
you're jumping to a conclusion that you're not, wait a minute, I got the mic. I got the mic now, okay? You're getting up insinuating that we're not gonna do nothing, and that, well, that's how I'm taking it. Maybe I'm mistaking what you're saying, okay? But I think everybody up here listened to everybody's complaints. I know I've addressed it a few times. I addressed it at the last meeting saying that's unacceptable, okay? If I lived out there, I wouldn't like it either, if I was hearing what you're saying, okay? If I lived out there and there was loud noises, all hours of nights and concert, I'd be at a meeting too complaining. Okay, that's where I'd come and complain. But to think that we're not listening to you and nothing's going to get done, well, maybe you're going to be surprised. And I hope you are, and I hope you're the first one that comes back and says, thank you.
Listen, I want to thank you for coming up out of, thanks to Chuddy's invitation, you came up, you've had your time. There's going to be no more comment from the public. We're at council comment. That's all we're going to do for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you. You're next.
So I'm just going to reiterate some of the things that we went over tonight. I think it was a quality of life meeting. Obviously, quality of life with safety, quality of life with, our noise and our noise ordinance. I think that I'm a very optimistic person, so I think that to have our business owners here and our neighborhood in attendance, those individuals who have been dealing with this. I'm appreciative. This was the second meeting in a row you probably had to go to. I think there's a viable solution here, and if there isn't, then this body or this administration will need to take appropriate steps. But I think that I think you heard it from Chuddy. Listen, I've worked with the director many times, Fred Dumont, on a variety of different issues. I don't want what was said here to get misconstrued. I think that he's looking out for all the residents of this town, and also will quickly acted to have that meeting. We need to get you the minutes of that meeting and who was in attendance at that meeting. That's important. I think that has to get done immediately. But I think that I'm thankful that the business owners were willing to give their numbers out. You should have done it on YouTube. No, I'm joking, David. No, but I'm happy that there's at least that communication that can happen. And we'll see where it goes from here. This is the second meeting that's been brought up. So let's see if there's progress, if there's some mediation here. If there isn't, then there's other steps that may need to take place. But I think that for right now, I'm an optimistic person. I like what I heard. I didn't, obviously all the concerns were, a little bit upsetting, but, some of the give and take, and I appreciate Peter and Dave coming up here and taking some of the brunt of that tonight. So everyone have a safe trip home and a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm going to be somewhat brief, just so that we don't, I just want to concur with everything that Councilman Whalen said, both about this evening's discussions, your concerns being brought to us. I personally grew up surrounded by farms. So I can completely imagine what this has been like as a change of your way of life. I used to come home every day to get a carrot from the fridge, to go to the farm behind my house, feed the horse, pet the llama, and see the cows. I mean, that was my adolescence and my childhood. So I do have a lot of empathy. Don't take that. We feel for you. I think Bill said it best. And that yes, there's been a lot of this going on. Communication's always key. So again, I also thank the business owners for being here so we could hear from them tonight as well. And hopefully you've had some resolve and can be able to work this out. And like Anthony said, if not, then we move to the next step. I do want to address Schiller Avenue, though. That is just absolutely unacceptable and needs to be addressed immediately. I have worked with some of those residents, as they said about the American Legion in the past, and they're very active and they're very, they care about their neighborhood, and we care about your neighborhood. So thank you for coming out and inviting us in a way into your neighborhoods to know what your life is really like every day so we can help you. So with that, again, just continue to, keep us in the loop, and anything we can do to help, we're here for you, and have a good night.
Yeah, I just will, I do want to thank all the residents for coming out. It is important that we hear your concerns. It does give us a better understanding of the issues. And, you know, I think that we have a course of action for the Ben Iron Brewery and the neighborhood adjacent to that. And I'm hopeful that it can be resolved between the neighbors there. However, I'm going to be talking tomorrow with our business administrator. I'm going to be talking tomorrow with our township attorney about what actions we may need to take if it cannot be resolved among the neighbors. So I'm hopeful, but I'm also going to start working on the next step because, again, this is a sound issue. It's not something that should drag out forever. And it's great if in a month we hear that there's not as much sound, but I want to know that next July there's also continues to be a satisfactory quality of life in the neighborhood. So this is, again, something that is going to be ongoing. I'm hoping to keep in touch with some of the folks from the neighborhood and with the owners of the brewery, and we'll keep this discussion going and, you know, come to a resolution that's satisfactory for everyone. And otherwise, thank you again, everyone, for coming out. This meeting is adjourned.
Get your bag.